Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode. On today's episode, we're going to be learning about parallel connections. So it's going to be this project right here. It's number 4 on your booklet. And this teaches you how parallel connections work. On this occasion, it's going to be two LEDs connected in parallel, and also two switches. I'll call them switches. One is the momentary switch and the other one's the slider switch. Although in this textbook it's called a key, which is this right here. They don't call it a momentary switch, but that's what I'm referring to. So before we get started, let's examine this circuit. Okay, so if you look at the circuit, you're gonna see that current flows. I'm sorry, it's out of focus, but we're gonna say current flows from the positive to the negative, just to be in sync with most of the other texts. Although some texts will tell you that current flows from the negative to the positive, but on this text, we're just gonna go with positive to negative. So the current starts over here and moves in two directions. So you have two choices. You can press this and allow the current to flow, or you can switch this to closed and allow the current to flow, or you can do both. Either way, the same amount of current is going to be flowing through these. If you have either one or two closed, this switch or that switch is closed, the same amount of current is going to flow, and then it's going to make it to the LEDs. And it's going to light up both LEDs, and it's going to return to the negative terminal. And what the text is telling you, and if you read the text, it's going to tell you to try either the switch or this or both, and you're going to see every time that the LEDs light up. And then the text tells you to disconnect one of the LEDs, and you're going to see that even with one of them disconnected, you press the switch or the slider switch, and that remaining LED that's still connected will light up. I don't know why the camera is flickering like that. Let me zoom out, maybe that helps. Nope. So anyway, and you are going to notice that when you take one of the LEDs out and you close the circuit, the remaining LED is going to light up brighter. And if you reconnect this, that remaining LED is going to dim out a little bit. So let's move on to the circuit. Okay, so here is the already wired up circuit, and over here we have the switch, the slider switch, and the momentary switch or key. So as we saw in the schematic in the diagram, if we close this circuit, if we close this switch or we close this switch, either way the two LEDs are going to light up. So let me turn off the lights and we're going to look at that. Okay, so the lights are off. So let me move the switch and the two LEDs come on like we saw in the diagram. Let me turn it off. And now let me press the momentary switch or key and the LEDs come on. Now let's open both switches. Let's close both switches. So it's this one's closed, and now we press this one, and this one seems to do nothing because electricity now flows through both of them, and because there are no resistors in either one of those trajectories, there's not going to be any change in the brightness. Now the text does say to remove one of the LEDs and see what happens. So we're going to do that. Let me first turn it off, and then we're going to remove that wire, and now we're going to turn it on, and only one lights up. And if I use the momentary switch, only one lights up. And if I do both, same thing, only one lights up. And now the textbook points out that if you reconnect the LED, this one's going to dim out a bit. So let's do that. And while I'm looking at the video and I can tell that it's not obvious on the, let me zoom in, maybe that'll help. Okay, I zoomed in. So let's see if it'll be obvious now. No, it's not obvious. It is obvious to the naked eye, but it's not obvious on the video that when you reconnect the LED, the red LED, the yellow one dims out. And let's go back to the schematic and let's look at why that happens. Okay, so we are back to the schematic. So the textbook told us to remove this LED. And when that happened, all the current flowed through here because before they were sharing the current. So basically they were going 50-50. 50% here and 50% there. They were sharing that current. So when you cut this off, you get 100% going through this LED. And that's why it gets, it turns on brighter. And when you return this LED to the circuit, it dims out a bit. So that is our lesson today with parallel connections. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and you can play around with this if you want. Just be very careful not to supply the wrong voltage to the LEDs because they will burn out. Although they won't burn out with 3 volts. But if you connect the other set of batteries and you deliver 6 volts, they will burn out. I can tell you that right now. So thank you for watching, subscribe, and thumbs up.